So these are the gantry risers. They're 4-inch square tube, 4-inch square with 3/8 inch wall, and they're stitched together down the length, just in 3 spots, and then they're fully welded around the perimeter of the base plate. So that mounts to the larger casting with 6 M12 bolts, 3 at the front, 3 at the back, and then there's two M8 threaded holes for set screw or bolt adjustments to adjust the pitch and the yaw and the roll of the plate relative to the casting. That'll help me align the upper gantry when it's finished. So these two risers are same, symmetric, and they have 1-inch base plate, 1-inch by 5-inch cold rolled base plate, welded to the 2 square tubes. My local metal supplier didn't have any 8-inch by 4-inch rectangular tube, so I used 2 4-inch square tube. It'll be stronger and stiffer, but I wish I didn't have to weld and stitch them together. It would have saved a lot of time and some of the material stresses and stuff. So we'll try to keep it fairly unclamped when I'm welding and stuff. But yeah, I would prefer just rectangular tubing. And then these are just some 5/8 11 threaded rod with the nut and washer welded on the top, so you can still use these to adjust. So the idea here is that we can use the threaded rod that's in each of the 4 tubes to actually adjust the plate that gets mounted on the top. So these, when we're making the upper plate parallel, we'll use these to adjust the pitch of it, and then we can set a level across the two risers so both plates are coplanar, and then we'll tack them on and finish all the welding. And then before we do that, we're actually going to, I haven't fully decided, but I'm either going to fill the internal cavity of each of the tubes with like a high density water jet garnet. It's a lot more dense than like granite aggregate or sand or something. The other option is using like precision non-shrinking machine grout or base casting grout, which I used for the original casting. So I cleaned out the inside of the tubes with from the top to the bottom with some rags and some toluol and some like rubbing alcohol. So those are all cleaned out, and then that'll help adhesion with the grout. But if I go with the garnet, I'll probably leave the garnet loose. So I'll just pour the garnet in each of the 4 and cap them off. I've seen research papers with like powdered material like sand or garnet or crushed rock with mixed with like a heavyweight oil and then sealed off. So that provides a lot of damping for vibration. So I'm gonna keep doing a bit more research and figure out what I want to use for filling each of these risers. So these risers are actually they're 5 inches wide by 19 inches tall, and then there'll be a 1-inch plate, so they'll be 20 inches tall in total, and they weigh about 30 or 40 pounds each. And then there's these 1-inch side skirts, and that just is to fill the gap between the 5-inch base plate and the 4-inch tube. So this will be where the machine enclosure will kind of get sealed off against the wall, and then these gaps between the skirt and the tube will just be filled with just automotive body filler, some lightweight filler, and then it'll be painted over with like a 2-part epoxy for machine paints, or paint for machines rather. So this is the underside of the 2 gantry risers, and because of the welding underneath, you probably can't see, but yeah, from what I showed before, the plates are actually a bit warped. They pull in because of the welding. So if you got a straight edge, you can kind of see a bit of a gap at the end. And again, this one's not too bad, but this one's a bit worse because the welds were a bit heavier. A bit of a gap. So we're gonna resolve that by just relieving the center of the plate. So it'll be, this bound surface will actually be lower than the 2 end pads, and same thing here. And then we're gonna lap it with a granite surface plate with abrasive, and then when we do the final assembly, we're actually going to use a metal casting epoxy to fill the gap between this surface and the mating surface on the main base, and we'll do the final alignment, and then that'll create a perfect plane for these two to mount on. So we've completely ground down the center portion, so the only points of contact will be front edge and the back edge, and then when we do the final assembly, we'll use metal casting epoxy, and this whole surface will be in contact with the main casting. So with a straight edge, you can see, it won't stand up, but you can see light underneath the full length.